I just saw something that I understand, Stugotz, so it can't be surprising, and yet it's still shocking. I've mentioned this a couple of times recently, and put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Can something be not surprising and still shocking? I just saw the Atlanta Falcons put out with a picture of Bill Belichick. Interview complete with Bill Belichick. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I mean, does Belichick really need to sit and interview? Like, what are we doing? Like,
and you offer him the job or you don't.
I mean, what do you...
I mean, you would like to have an idea, especially with like how the last few years. Like, are you I know you're great and all that, but just kicking the tires here. Do you plan on hiring Matt Patricia?
Yeah, don't.
But I've never seen a team put out anything on social media that says we merely interviewed a coach.
Oh, that happens all the time.
With a picture?
Yeah.
And a big, bold headline?
That's not the part I'm surprised by. The part I'm surprised by is the coach they're doing it with. I think you can just pick up the phone and be like, Bill, we got a couple of issues here. Are you good with these? Is that good?
Bill should interview them. I mean,
that's part of what's happening.
Yeah. It's a little bit. Man, if anyone knows the value of playing in a crap division, it's that guy.
And
if
you're
looking for fit.
And you know he loves social media attention, so good job posting that stuff.
That's the Falcons just trying to sell a few tickets, correct?
Yes.
It's transparency. Sure. They leaked it out to the media that they finished interviewing him.
So. But they wouldn't have done that if it didn't serve them to do that.
Of course. They're showing that they're in the game, that they're trying, that they're making an effort to get Bill Belichick.
I think the way that it serves them is they're interviewing arguably the greatest head coach of all time for that position. Like, I don't think they're doing it for likes.
Put it on the poll as well, please. Are you ready for a Bucs-Texan Super Bowl at Le Batard Show? Lucy spent.
Am I ever?
Lucy spent the entire break cold shaming all of us.
By the way, that Super Bowl is the only time I'd ever want to watch Deshaun Watson on camera. If we can have a Bucs-Texans Baker Mayfield versus C.J. Stroud Super Bowl, I am good. Where I've never been good with it, I am good with the camera cutaways to Deshaun Watson.
Lucy has spent the entire break making fun of all of us. She was talking to Jeremy and making fun of him. Do you want to explain to the people, and the people listening to this side with you, Lucy? They are mortified, by the way, that we talk about the cold because none of us have lived in anything that resembles cold. My father purposely chose. My family and its descendants come from an island that is tropical, and we do not want to be around cold.
I mean, I lived in the cold. I grew up in the Northeast. I went to school in Worcester, Massachusetts. It was very, very cold there. My mustache never froze.
Yeah, but Stugotz, you're so far removed. You will see. Lucy will learn this as well if she lives here long. You lose whatever it is that you had in terms of immunity to cold when you lived down here for a certain number of years.
I think I'll lose that, but I never think I'll lose my judgmental nature when it comes to people in the cold. I grew up in the South, and so I was like not used to the cold ever. Like 30s was probably the coldest that I've ever experienced. That's what Jeremy said. He was like, that's the coldest weather I've ever been in. 30 degrees. Be so serious right now. And then I moved to Iowa, and it became like a badge of honor, being like, I survived the polar vortex. I survived the negative 50-degree day.
Polar vortex?
That was crazy. Polar vortex, it was like this insane winter, like chill storm that happened. I think it was like 2019, and it reached negative 55 in Iowa. It was insane. I think you got frostbite after being outside for like 90 seconds. I was like supposed to go to work that day, and I had to drive. Tried to start my car. My car didn't start. I had to put on like 10 layers, just like go outside. And so I think of that day a lot when you guys are like, it's 60 degrees out. I can't live like this. Be so serious.
Speaking of cold, this weekend, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, Stugotz, embarrassed me on behalf of Meadowlark Media for how pathetic our cold tub punishment of Tony was last week. It was pathetic for a number of different reasons. The audience has also pointed out this is something of an oversight by me. We spent a lot of time arguing about whether or not we had vetted a hot pepper appropriately, and none of us thought to think that a microphone that close to water could have electrocuted Tony on air, which would have led to a spike in viewership, but probably at the cost of Tony's life.
That was a risk we were willing to take.
Yeah, small price to pay.
Also, dorks, it's a microphone. It's not like a toaster. It's not going to kill me.
I'm not positive, although that particular cold
You could
tub,
throw them. I'll do it again. Throw the microphone in. I'll be fine.
But
Really?
your cold tub was
All right,
pathetic.
challenge accepted.
Well, here's the thing, Dan.
Sign a
Our
waiver, I
cold
think.
plunge is a bit different than the cold plunge that we're going to see from Stone Cold, right? Ours is a tub, where his is an actual, like, it has a pump inside, and it's pumping cold water. It's completely different. We put 8 bags of ice, but then waited 45 minutes to do the segment. So in Miami, it's going to, it's going to get warm.
It was pathetic. It was embarrassing, all of it, and it could have killed you as well as an added bonus. But let's just play for the audience here the video and the audio of Stone Cold Steve Austin for the first time trying to get into a proper cold plunge.
God damn it. Whoa.
That's just his feet and ankles, by the way. You got to just go.
Yeah.
About quad deep now.
Just about to get to the tip.
God damn it. Hey, what's up? God damn it. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve coming to the Broken Skull Ranch. I got this new therapy. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve coming to the Broken Skull Ranch. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve coming to the Broken Skull Ranch. About to do my first cold plunge and renewed therapy. My shop says 43 degrees right now, so I'm sure the water is sub 50. I was going to start off at 50. It's going to be a little bit colder than that. And we're going 3 minutes here. Once it gets on to 12, and 5, 4, 3, 2, down we go. God damn.
Belly button deep now. Up to the chest.
Son of a bitch.
And he's out.
Wow. Wimp.
Gonna revisit this mother.
All right,
That's great. That's how you have to do it, right?
no, you got to do it far better than that if you're
I'm
cold,
gonna revisit this mother.
stone cold.
Wow. Failed attempt.
Now let's put up Tony's so that people can see how pathetic the difference is and how not cold Tony's was. Unacceptable. And just, this isn't even a punishment, what you did. It would have been a punishment if you had been electrocuted and died. Then I would have.
It would have been a punishment.
Yes, but this way, like Stone Cold didn't even get up to his nipples.
Yeah, but Tony wasn't whimpering. I mean, he just went right in. That's how you do it. Yeah.
I've done one that's at Lifetime Fitness that's in the 40s, and it is freezing cold. And you just got to get in. There's a reason it's called a cold plunge. Mm-hmm. It's not a cold dip. It's not a jacuzzi where you can kind of get in. No, you got to go in and put that up to your neck. And then just sit there and wear it. That's what you got to do.
I've never even done one, and I know what Stone Cold there is not the way to do it. You just go, and then you deal with the pain. Like, an inch at a time is not the way to go.
Your thoughts, Greg?
I have a swimming pool that I don't go in unless the water is like bath water warm. Like, I won't even go in my pool if it's the least bit chilly, let alone that.
The only time my dad goes in the pool is after a round of golf, and he brings shampoo out into the water.
Well, I mean, who doesn't?
I'm not kidding about
I'm
that.
man enough to admit it.
We'll
We
be
all
driving
do it.
home from golf. Like, I think I'm going to hop in the pool when we get home.
Yeah.
Greg, people don't do that.
Sure they do.
No,
It's
that's
his
not-
pool.
You're
I
not
mean.
washing your hair when you're doing it with chlorine, Greg.
It's all the better. Chlorine cleans. It's a cleanser.
Yep.
You know, plus my
It's a
pool.
toxin.
It's a what?
It's a toxin.
Toxin.
You can't ingest chlorine.
Oh, I know I don't. I don't do that. But, you know, it's the amount of chlorine in a swimming pool is infinitesimal. Okay?
Lucy's mortified by you right now and should be.
It's destroying your hair. That is so
that could-
bad for your hair.
That could be the reason.
Yeah, that is the reason. You cannot chlorine water, Greg?
I will say this, Greg. Your hair is looking really good right now, though.
You can't shampoo. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Have you ever shampooed in a pool?
But it's so easy, Dan.
Yeah.
Like you jump into the pool, the hair's wet, you put some shampoo in, you go back under, it's off, you're done.
Are you
Bing,
of
bang,
the
boom.
Are you of the opinion that I don't understand why?
Well,
Greg
it seems
does
like you
it?
don't.
No, I understand that it's because he's disgusting and lazy. I'm surrounded by people like that, and especially on Tuesdays.
You know, the beauty is the suds dissipate like magic. Nobody would know.
Greg,
Nobody would know.
shampoo is to get the chlorine out of your hair, not to use for your hair. You might as well be telling me you're washing
Marcus
your
Welby.
hair with.
I can't resist.
Marcus Welby is
You
the
said
joke.
well-
I
you
know.
might
I
as
know what
well
I
be.
said. I know. I said.
Okay.
So you made a reference to a 1970s television doctor.
I can't remember when it came out.
You might as well have been washing and shampooing your hair with dog, because
I've
you're
done that too. Not nearly as satisfying, believe me.
Came out in 1968.
There
Marcus
you go.
Welby.
Beautiful. Yeah, there he is.
What is that?
It's
It's
a
a T.
television doctor
Marcus Welby, MD.
show
He's
from
got Cody ears.
the 1960s.
He does. He's got old man ears like me. Anyway,
You said Welby. I mean,
yeah, I've never, just for the record, I have never washed my hair in dog. I don't even know if that's a thing. Even if it were a thing, I wouldn't do it. But the idea of washing your hair with shampoo in a swimming pool, nothing wrong with it.
Something very wrong with it.
Does-
Absolutely defeats the entire purpose.
Dozens do it, but nobody admits it but me. Dozens of people nationwide do that, probably every week. I do it occasionally.
After a round of golf when your hair's really dirty.
Right, or sweaty. Yeah. Nobody else does that?
No, Greg.
People go in the pool.
Greg, no. Not even just because they don't want it in their hair. Also, you don't want shampoo in your pool either.
Yeah, I just remarked that the suds dissipate like magic almost instantly.
But they're not actually disappearing. They're just in your pool
Well, that's
water.
what the chlorine takes care of. That's why I pay a man to chlorinate my pool. Carries in a couple of big yellow jugs. Google. All of a sudden, it's in the water. It spreads. I could drink a glass of water from my pool. It wouldn't even bother me. You don't taste the chlorine.
DraftKings.
Should I go up to the pool and get my dad a cup of water?
I don't know how much they chlorinate. I know how much my man chlorinates.
No,
'cause
you
I watch
don't.
him. Yeah, I do.
2 yellow jugs.
You
He's
just
there
said that
every
they
Monday.
didn't chlorinate at all.
Well, my man chlorinates.
Yeah, but how much? You said there was infinitesimal.
Right.
But then he chlorinates a ton.
Okay, a pool is how many gallons? I'm just guessing.
How could I know that?
Thousands
guessing
of gallons.
2,000.
Thousands of gallons.
Okay. Let's say 2,000 just for laughs.
A ton.
Okay, 2 jugs of chlorine. Y'all picture those big
yeah,
plastic
but
jugs.
Greg, it's like bleach.
It is
It's-
like bleach if you
it's-
drink it out of the yellow jug.
But Greg, it's something that just kills everything.
The average pool has 18 to 20,000 gallons of water.
Okay, perfect.
Way more than 2,000.
So it seems like a lot.
It doesn't matter.
I dare you to call up a chlorine
dare
expert
you.
right now and say, is it harmful if you're swimming in your chlorinated pool and by accident you take a gulp that you swallow? Is that going to harm you? Of course, the answer is no. It's not a problem. I'm not advocating people do it. Don't get me wrong. But if I do it, what am I going to start screaming and ask my wife to call 911?
Chris-
you got to eat a peck of dirt before you die.
That's what he always says.
Remember, and
Yeah.
that applies to things ingested. That applies to liquid as well. You got to eat a peck of dirt before you die.
Chris, how does your mother feel? Has she ever walked in on your father
I can.
washing his hair in the pool?
She's mortified by this, and yeah, she judges him every time he does it.
I'm guessing
People do.
that we don't have a whole lot of people in our audience who are going to say that they do that.
Dozens, Dan.
Lucy, you are not only dressed as a White Lotus celebrating television character. You also are dressed like someone, and I was shocked to learn this, Stugotz, although I like Lucy's sense of adventure, and I like that Lucy is seeing Miami in a super unique way. Lucy loves to go to estate sales.
Love them so much. It is my favorite part of the weekend. I usually try to go to like the rich areas because I love looking at people's houses. So I'll find like there were 2 estate sales I went to this weekend in Coral Gables that were like mansions. Oh my God, it's just delightful to walk around someone's house. I like to see all the things they own. One time I went to an estate sale and they had a whole wall just covered in little owl figurines. They probably had like 3,000 owls in their house. And I was like, I'm so glad I got to see this.
Did you get that outfit?
I did, absolutely.
You look like you're going to an
good.
estate sale in that outfit.
What were the highlights from this weekend's estate journey?
Well, I lost out on something, which is always tough. And when that happens, it's like it's my own fault. I saw the perfect Elvis bust, like just the most beautiful, like Elvis figurine head. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to walk around a little bit. You want to sit, you want to think about your purchases. And some lady swooped it right out from me. And so the only options I was left with were a bunch of like tables that were dogs standing up, like serving, but they didn't really fit my aesthetic. Like I would have had to paint them pink or something. It felt like a bad weekend estating, but it was so nice because the houses were so rich. And one of them very clearly hadn't been lived in for like 30 years. So all the stuff was really old.
Is this like a live auction or like a blind one where you're like writing down what you're willing to pay? Like, how does this work? How do you get the items?
So usually like Thursday or Friday, I will look up estate sales on my estate sale app to see like where they're at. And they usually include pictures or like some sort of description so that you can kind of like sense out the vibe. Because sometimes I look at these estate sales and I'm like, this is, you should have just kept it. You should have just kept it. No one wants it. And then it usually depends on like who's running the estate sale, but most of the time things are ticketed. And I don't know if it's like this in Miami, but in LA, you could go on different days. And like if you went on Saturday, everything was like 50% off, or Sunday was 75% off. So you can like negotiate a little bit with this stuff. But it's a really nice, like, especially the nice ones, you can find like luxury like bags and shoes. It is a blast. If anyone ever wants to go estate sailing, I'm definitely going again this weekend.
I'm actually really interested in this because the only time that I see anything about estate sales is if I'm driving down US 1, there's usually like a little placard that's stuck in the median with like red lettering saying estate sale, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Rolexes, and I'm like, that's got to be a scam. There's no way, right? And then you drive up to it, they take you, they sequester you, the whole thing.
Sequester you?
Yeah, they sequester you for sure, Dan. That's how they get you in the door. Estate sale, here, come here, and then all of a sudden...
You have it being an abduction of some sort?
100%.
Weird.
That's what I was taught as a kid.
Kidnapping.
So again, I'm weary of estate sales, but I'm down to go to an estate sale with Lucy.
No, they're very fun. I can spot the ones that I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna try to sell me a timeshare here because it's like they're like it's in a random warehouse. I'm like, well, that's not someone's home. And like the joy of it is getting the weird things I buy. But honestly, I just love looking through people's stuff. Love looking through their house. I am so curious what you guys have been up to.
I am totally with you. I wasn't even in the market for a house, but I went to look at Joe Girardi's house. It's in my neighborhood, and it was fantastic. He has 3 no-hit balls, a perfect game ball. I started negotiating the house and the balls, the whole deal. It is fun to walk around a house.
Snoop, to be a busybody.
Right. Where, someone has stuff that you'll never have, and someone's a lot wealthier than you are. Joe Girardi's house was beautiful.
Wow. How many of those valuable balls were you able to fit in your pocket on the way out?
Just one.
I also am a fan of going in an open house in my neighborhood. If there's an open house in my neighborhood, I got to see what's what. Check the lay of the land.
Check it out. Yeah, it's fun.
I do that all the time. I lived in like a pretty affluent area in LA. I lived in Brentwood, and I used to just walk into these like $15 million homes, and I had like stains on my sweatshirt. I clearly had gone out the night before. So it was very funny because the real estate agents would be like, oh, she's just walked in here. Like, we're not even going to acknowledge her. But I got to see the nicest homes.
2 questions for you. Do you love the haggling, and are you always the youngest person there, or do you find yourself running into people that are within 20 years of your age?
I don't love haggling. I'm not built like that. I'm too much of a people pleaser. So I'm like, oh, great, I'll pay you more than you want me to pay you for this. I'm always the youngest person there. But it's nice because sometimes you find like, wow, this is some really funky stuff that older people wouldn't really like. But if you're ever in the market for like dishware or nice china or glasses, estate sales are the best place to get them.
I picture the whole thing smelling like mildew.
It depends on the house. My first house smelled delightful. Second house, yeah. That was a mildewy house, but it was in such a nice area.
I picture that people who wash their hair with chlorine water smell like mildew. Their hair smells like mildew.
Nothing wrong with that.
Greg, can you tell me, please, because you had a take on Nick Saban that I'm not hearing a lot elsewhere.
Right. I feel like Nick Saban is not retired. I feel like he's temporarily retired, but if we think retirement means he'll be totally out of the public eye, that has zero chance of happening. There's already rumors
he's gonna have a job in broadcasting. Right. The Reese Davis interview made that plain.
Right. But if we think he's done coaching, I question that. I just do. I have no evidence, but he's a young 72. He's in good shape for his age. I think he's up for another challenge. I do.
NFL, you're saying?
Not necessarily, although it's a misconception that he failed with the Dolphins in his 2 years. He didn't. He left for Alabama, but he would have been very successful in the NFL, I think. And so between the pick of his litter, like Belichick, he can coach wherever he wants. Anybody will take him.
$5.
That was well done.
Yeah,
No, that was I just learned a lesson right there.
That was amazing.
Incorporate your throat
$5.
But wait,
into your take.
Did you in your mind think you were covering that up there?
Yeah, I tried to make it, give it
No,
a
well
musical-
done. Because
a
we all
musical
noticed you
element.
battling. You fouled a few off.
Yeah.
But you stayed alive in the count, and then you spun
you.
that thing
It's a play
to
on
a
for
win.
me.
I want to hear a replay.
I
of that if
believe
you don't mind.
Stugotz is doing a first and
Yes.
paying the fine
Thank you.
for Greg
No,
Cote.
I'm giving the money to Greg
Yeah,
Cote.
no, fine.
Okay,
That was well done.
You're paying him
I
for
learned something new.
for going through the cough, and he's making money now
Thank you.
because of that. And now Chris Cote is running in here with the handcuffs. I don't know what he's doing while handcuffed.
It's
to
my
Tony.
job talking to the people
I
out
want to
there.
grab the video of that because it was the flourish too.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, we
Jason to
will
it.
watch that together in a moment.
It was one of the great saves of all time.
Yeah, I thought so. That kind of thing.
We'll relive it together in a second. Nick Saban, I saw him on a podcast talking to a couple of former players of his. They asked him, how would it have been different if you had signed Drew Brees in Miami with the Dolphins? And he said, no, we had him signed. The doctors told me I couldn't have him. And he's like, my whole career would have been totally different if I had signed Drew Brees. He was saying he probably wouldn't have gone to Alabama.
It worked out okay for him. I mean,
It did.
Yeah.
I want to get into something here, though, as it regards Saban, because it is unusual for a coach to do what he did.
Did you just clear your throat with the unusual way that you said
The
it?
Greg
think
Cote?
so.
Did
Yeah,
you?
I don't think so.
Weird.
Felt like imitator.
Or the Jason Fitz. He sings things. It's weird.
It's unusual to see a coach cite age issues at 72, where he just said flatly age was an issue. And it made me think of our presidential candidates and which job is harder. And which you would think age would be an issue in more, because both of our leading presidential candidates are a good deal older than this man who's telling you the Alabama job is too much for him. Which one do you imagine? Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Which job is harder on an old person? Alabama coach or United States president?
Or morning radio.
I think there's more travel for Nick Saban than our president.
Yeah.
That's not true.
I think so, because he's constantly traveling throughout the week, even when they have a game, helicoptering in to St. Thomas. He did a lot of travel.
People are more hateful about sports than they are politics. So I think there's a bigger emotional wear being the Alabama head coach.
Wow, you'd get an argument on that. I think people are pretty hateful about politics.
They're really hateful about Crimson Tide football.
Yeah. Well, do we all agree that college coaching is more difficult than NFL coaching?
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There's not even a question.
No,
the
it's
schedule.
It's the hardest coaching profession there is.
And
in all
it's
sports.
gotten harder with NIL and transfer portal.
mess.
I mean, it's a holy mess that college football has brought onto itself.
Don't you think Saban saw that, though, and said, I don't want any part of
I
this?
think so.
Like, if I end it today, I'm the greatest coach in the history of this sport, and with NIL and transfer portal, 12 of his guys went into the portal.
Right.
He's like, what?
I know.
I'm out of here.
Saban's like, too much parody.
I remember.
Teams have caught me. I'm out.
I mean, 30 years ago, I remember Shula in retirement telling me that coaching in the NFL had gotten so much harder in his coaching lifetime. that it became a year-round job. You couldn't take a week off. You couldn't take more than 2 weeks off, or else you feel like you were falling behind. And in college coaching now, that's a madhouse. It's crazy.
Let's watch Greg Cote. A first ever Stugotz has paid Greg Cote because he toughed it out and made something out of the phlegm in his throat.
Anybody will take them.
$5.
That was well done.
Play it again.
Anybody will take them.
That was well done.
Anybody will take them.
$5.
That was well done.